Hello, Professor. My name is Brian Lipson, and this is my Week 7 video presentation. Um, so, the prompt is asking us to kind of discuss our journey throughout the course, uh, particularly as it pertains to SAF meds and the interventions that we used. Um, so, I want to address a few of those points as per the prompt tells us to. Um, as far as the intervention, when I started with a new deck of cards, whether it was deck 1, 2, or 3, I would begin studying the cards without necessarily running trials right away. I would review the SAF Meds cards and I would separate the cards that I knew and was able to able to answer the correct answer from the cards that I guessed incorrectly and the material that I was not as familiar with. And then I would really focus on studying and reviewing the unknown cards and would slowly integrate them back in with the cards that I do know to kind of build up that fluency. Um, so once I had established the cards I did not know from the ones that I did know, I would look over those cards a few times, just read them out loud, read the definition on the back, followed by the term on the front. After that, I would do what I considered to be my first round of studying. The first round of studying typically was that I would study once per day, and I would study for 5 to 10 minutes per day. That length really just depends on the amount of cards in the deck. So, for example, deck 1 was a lot larger. I wouldn't have been able to really get so much done, maybe review everything one time in 5 minutes. So for deck 1, it was 10 minutes per day. For deck 3, it was 5 minutes per day, which allowed me to get through that deck actually multiple times. Um, okay, so that's the first round of studying, and then I would run my SAF Meds trials. So I was really heavily reinforced by my SAF Meds trial scores. I was pretty competitive with myself, and even though at this point, honestly, I just want to reach the aim goal, and then let my familiarity kind of propel me past the aim goal for those SAF Meds cards. I really wanted to get to the aim goal. I have high expectations of myself. So if the first round of studying yielded me reaching the aim goal, awesome, I didn't change anything. However, if I didn't reach the aim goal right away, which I don't believe I did in this course for any of the first weeks that I was working with the decks, then I would go through what I called my second round of studying, which would be to increase the frequency of my study sessions from 1 time per day to 2 times per day. And I would study 10 minutes per day. So if it was a smaller deck, then I was really getting extra study time in because no longer is it 5 minutes per study session, it's 10. And if it was a larger deck, say deck 1, it's still an additional period, a study period. So doing it twice per day instead of once. Um, so that's really how my intervention went for my SAFMEDS trials. As far as how the data influenced my intervention, once I reached the aim goal, I really just took my foot off the gas, so to say, and went back to that first round of studying where I would study 1 time per day, more 5 to 10 minutes per day, but closer to 5 minutes. And if I was really, really familiar with the SAF Meds deck, then I would just run my trials and I would consider that to be my studying. So measurement. So measurement procedures. I mean, of course, with the SAF Meds assignment, we're working with A cells and D cells per trial in almost like a discrete trial training kind of setup, using our 30-second intervals to see how many we're getting correct versus incorrect. And that is using standard acceleration. So we're charting our progress not only throughout this particular course, ABA 624, but also throughout our time spent in the MS-ABA program at National. So that was measurement. I typically for this course was writing my measurements down on paper and then inputting them into Precision X later in the week. And the results, I think, were relatively effective. I was able to reach the aim goal for all of the decks that I used. Um, and I didn't really worry too much about it. Once I reached the aim goal, that was pretty much it. I see that my video is just over 5 minutes long, so I'm going to end here. But thank you so much, Professor, for running a really excellent course. And I hope you have a great rest of your week.